You're listening to DraftKings Network.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
Craven the Hunter, who uses all the methods of the animals.
This Thursday.
Once you're on his list, there's only one way off.
Are you like your father?
He puts evil into the world. I get rid of people like him.
Who's next?
Witness the making of a new Marvel villain.
You think you're some kind of honor. You're a criminal, just like our father.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is Craven the Hunter. Rated R. Under 17 on admitted without parent. In theaters Thursday.
Shadow Show.
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 Shadow in it.
Shadow in it.
Chris, you should have seen how proud of himself he was as Greg Cody came in here, turned off his phone, and put on his headsets, ready to do the show, and started bragging about it. And I celebrated him after 20 years. He has learned common courtesy.
Yeah.
Finally, he has learned the common courtesy of be ready to go when the show starts. He was so proud of himself for turning off his phone and for putting his microphone in front of his face.
I cheered for him. He turned the volume down on his computer. I'm not certain he knows how to do any of these things, so I don't know if the phone is actually off. I'm not certain the volume is turned down on his computer. And I also have to say to him, while celebrating it, I didn't like it. I mean,
I didn't know what to do with it. I was certainly confused by it, but he came in with the A material today. He's like, I got stuff on face rubbing.
Oh.
I mean, that's a big deal. That's a Cody family and by the way, me being all prepared and unusually ready was my Christmas gift to you, so don't expect anything else. No, face rubbing is a family tradition. My dad did it. He said his dad did it. We're deep rubbers. We're rubbers, rubbing it, and
attaboy.
It works. You know, it's like I don't want to do it right now because I just came out.
Well,
of the
we're not on video right now, so it wouldn't be good to do it right now.
Well, people can visualize it. Everybody rubs their face, but I make a ritual of it because it is a family tradition.
I had it as you rubbing other people's faces.
Yeah. No.
That would be odd.
Yeah, that's an intimate thing. Like when I'm rubbing my face, I'm giving myself a self-massage, and it's invigorating.
This came up with me and my dad because he does this on our podcast recordings. I'll be setting up a guest, and we can see my dad. He thinks like he's doing this as if he can't be seen, and he's just giving himself this like deep face massage while Dave Barry's on the I'm like, Dad, I'm trying to get Dave Barry ready here. Can you stop, massaging your face? It's making us both uncomfortable.
Don't knock it till you tried it. That's the only thing I can say. I mean, it's wonderful.
We touch our faces 23 times per hour.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show, Juju. Over, under, touching your face 23 times an hour.
Greg, you said it's a family tradition, and I'm going to be honest with you. You've said a lot of things are family traditions, and I'm concerned that they're not going to live on because your son, at least Christopher, seems to reject many of these family traditions.
Most of them, almost all of them.
Does Michael do the same thing? Like, will these family traditions all go with you?
They will all go with me, yes.
I'll do PFPI.
Will
I'll keep that going.
Are you sure?
It's nice of you.
Right now I'm planning on it. We'll see how it goes.
He just said that on a recording, so it's official now. But no, everything dies with me. The face rubbing will die. Referring to farts as pets will die. My granddaughter refers to farts as toots. Doesn't even have the common courtesy to say pets.
Right.
He's not teaching her right, obviously, because you got to say who let a pet. And she doesn't do that. So, the face rubbing has no chance because every time I do it, Christopher acts like it's some horrific ritual that I'm going through. And when really it's just like sort of almost like a self-gratification,
That's my point. It seems like something that should be done alone in your bathroom.
No.
And you do it on Zoom in front of Dave Barry.
Well, I think it's an age thing. I think Dave Barry could relate to it. He's older than I am. I love having guests on my show that are even older.
Looks
than me.
younger.
He does look younger. You're right.
It's rare, huh?
So much younger.
Man.
Dave Barry looks so much younger
He
than
looks
you.
like he's 45. What's the matter with that guy?
That shirt looks like it's 45.
Well, that's what
I mean.
Billy said in my ear while Greg was talking. That shirt's older than anyone in the shipping container, and Amin's in the shipping container.
That collar has seen better days.
I mean, I don't date my shirts. I have no idea when I bought this, but I will say it's been in my closet a while, and I haven't worn it in a while. I hope whatever
Judging from the age of that one, you don't date them, you marry them. Like you've been with that shirt for a long ass time. I remember that shirt walking into a Herald cafeteria, and that cafeteria, that building, and the Herald no longer exist. Like their shirt still does.
Yeah.
That shirt I have seen since I was in college.
Really? I didn't realize that. Technically, the Miami Herald still exists, by the way. No, I like this shirt personally.
Clearly,
it's a keeper.
You've certainly made that known over the years.
But I don't wear it much, you'd admit.
That I would say that shirt is something with that age that should, over the course of a lifetime, turn into a dish rag. Something that you dry plates with.
That's an heirloom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a beautiful thing. I'll bequeath it to Christopher. He'll turn it into a dish rag. But, no, I love it. It has almost like a Paisley vibe to me.
But what it?
Bequeath it.
Bequeath.
Bequeath with a TH.
You won't get any money, but you'll get all my little artifacts and, curios. Look forward to that. Save the date.
Of your death?
Yeah. I haven't decided it yet, but save the date.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I want to ask all of you, as this Bill Belichick to North Carolina thing becomes more and more real, and I'm sitting here trying to think of times that we've done anything like this. We argue all the time about whether the college guy could make it work in the pros. We have not had everything turned so upside down that the greatest football coach any of us have ever heard of now doesn't get work in the NFL and wants to call his own dictator terms at North Carolina in such a way that he's being this brazen about the professionalism when he says, quote, let me put this in capital letters. If I was in a college program, if the college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program. Training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level and an education that would get the players ready for their career after football. It would be geared toward developing the player, time management, discipline structure, all that. That would be life skills regardless of whether they were in the NFL or somewhere in business. I feel very confident that I have the contacts in the NFL to pave the way for those players that would have the ability to compete in the NFL. They would be ready for it. I have no doubt about that. He said this to Pat McAfee. This is absolutely him recruiting already. Like he's saying, I'm going to be Saban. Like, you know how Saban got people to the pros? That's what I'm going to be. Never mind, like, yeah, okay, education, college, but I'm going to be pipeline to high school kid. You want to know how to get to the pros? Who knows better than I? How to get you to the pros. He's already in recruiting mode, right, while I still want to learn whether this is a real thing that he's negotiating to get his son to replace him.
I mean, Dan, the reports are he sat down with the people in charge of making this hire for 5 hours, pitching his ideas to North Carolina. I don't think he does that unless he's taking it seriously.
But saying this publicly, right here,
yeah,
the last year of Belichick's life, if I'm Belichick, I'm deeply insulted by the sport I love. Insulted that no one will give me a job with what I've done in that league, and now I've got to go to North Carolina to negotiate something that's a minor league job while saying, a minor league compared to the pros, the NFL pros,
right,
while saying out loud the thing of, I'm worthy and here's why I'm worthy. Here's why I'm better than all the other college coaches. But I want to ask you guys from a practical perspective, when has this happened before? where a coach, of this magnitude, there aren't many, but just a pro coach is taking a job that's just, it's not one of the best jobs in college football. It's a good job, but it's not one of the best jobs in college football. The idea that Belichick is available to this school, wants to go to this school, and is out here saying out loud to recruits already, this is what I offer if you go to North Carolina. I've got a better chance of getting you to real money and professionalism than anybody else that is working in the sport.
But is he right, though? I think that a myriad number of teams at the top level of college football are already what he's saying. Look at how many players Georgia has in the NFL right now. Ohio State, Alabama, all the top programs do what he's saying. And my question is, everything is about recruiting in the portal now. Does the Belichick name wow kids who are 18 or 20 years old? Does a guy that age really, really impress people he's after, as opposed to
wows their parents the same way Dion does?
Okay.
But Greg, if he has the ability, and I believe that he does, and he has the connections, and I believe that he does, to get kids to the NFL, that's what they care about, right?
Right. But doesn't every top program offer that same pipeline?
But we were just talking about in the NFL how he just doesn't connect with players anymore, and now he's going to go to a younger demographic. Look at all the successful coaches. I know there are outlier old guys, but it's a lot of Dan Lannings. And it's just, it's flashy, but I just feel like 1 year into like a mediocre season with North Carolina, and we're already doing the same conversations about he's just not connecting with these young guys.
But college, you're able to coach them and talk to them in a way that you can't in the pros, because all those guys make so much money. Like, the hell out of here. They make money in college now, but I'm just saying you still are able to coach college kids harder than you coach pros, because at the end of the day, a bunch of them are kids like a year or so removed from high school. And when you walk into those doors, that's one of the things about what Dan is talking about, pro coaches versus college coaches, is that pro coaches sit back and watch college and be like, most of y'all can't coach. That's how pro coaches think about college. Most of you guys can't coach. All you do is recruit and you do rah-rah stuff. So imagine Belichick saying, me with my football IQ, and then add on to that, I don't have to worry about feelings as much as I do at the NFL level.
But you do now, right? Because like if you don't like it, you can leave in a year. Like no one's tied into being part of any team anymore for any extended period of time. And even if you do like him, if someone comes with more money, you can go. So like you do have to manage the feeling almost more so than the NFL, where NFL you're bound by contracts. Like they can leave 1 year to the next if they don't like how he's coaching them.
He will be more powerless in college than at any time in the college experience a coach has been powerless. And he was able to be the last of the dinosaurs who ran the professional outfit at the highest level in a dictator way that didn't matter whether he connected with the players or not. Charlie Weiss, his disciple, a lot of coaches never forgave him for appearing at Notre Dame and saying at the first press conference, I've got a significant schematic advantage over my other coaches. We've got to assume that every single game that North Carolina will play with this as the coach, they have a significant coaching advantage, correct? We're going to agree on the front end that whatever it is they bring into the building, the moment it arrives, a leadership and coaching advantage, they will have the biggest one in the sport, correct? Will we agree on that, or do we not agree on that?
I'll give you defensively. I mean, he might bring in the guy with the pencil to run his offense again.
Patricia, the guy with the pencil.
Yeah.
Matt
you knew
Patricia,
who I meant.
That's the kind of executive producing expertise I need.
You said the name. Well, I knew exactly who I meant.
I do love building out his coaching staff, because I have Teddy Bruschi coaching linebackers at UNC. I mean,
well, Patricia will go with him, right? Like Patricia's producing him right now. I'm pretty sure. Like I think Patricia's doing a lot of his production for him for all of his television appearances.
That's great.
Like his research. No, I mean it's not uncommon. Adam Gase does that for the Mannings. I don't know if that's a secret, but Adam Gase works on the Manning cast doing research.
Wow. I think two things about Belichick are fair to say. Number one, he didn't win without Tom Brady before in Cleveland, and he didn't win without Tom Brady after in New England. The second point I would make is that Bill Belichick is about 2 seasons, maybe 3, from breaking the all-time record for most NFL coaching victories. If you don't think Bill Belichick would rather coach in the NFL, you're crazy. And if he ends up in North Carolina, I guarantee you he has a contract that has an out clause where he can leave in the middle of a game if he wants to, if he has an offer from the NFL.
So, Greg, don't you think part of this is a message to the NFL? Like, hey, if you want me, come get me right now.
I think
because I'm dead serious about taking this job.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Did you know that Adam Gase was a researcher on the Manning cast? I also saw, in honor of what I thought was a rare thing, Anderson Cooper having a name that his first name is also a last name and his last name is also a first name. And I was saying that that is a rare thing. But it's also true of Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia's first name is first name and a last name, and his last name is a first name and a last name.
Yeah.
But his first name can't be a last name. There's not many Matts.
No, I've never met a Mr.
Greg
Matt.
Yeah.
Right. His
Or
first name is a
Matthews.
first name. His last name is a first name.
Austin Matthews.
And a last
So
name.
there are no Matts. There are no last name. In the history of sports, we have never had running around out there someone who's just simply named Matt on the last name. No,
Al, Matt. No, it just doesn't exist. But Matt Patricia's first name probably is Matthew. So technically, I think you're right.
There's nobody named Matthew with a last name. Matthews with an S.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, Teddy Matthews.
Singular?
Yeah.
No.
Totally different.
No, I think there's singular Matthew
Name
last
one.
names. You know, I can't offhand, but that doesn't mean there
Al
aren't.
Matthew.
Not going to take a quiz.
I mean, just like there's McDaniels and McDaniel. You know, there's Matthews and Matthew.
but we
Right.
can name McDaniel. We
Travis
can't name
Matthew.
any.
There
How
you
about
go.
that?
Thank
Boom.
you.
That's
The Honey Badger.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Can we do
Name
something here? David Samson is roaming and patrolling the premises here, and he's got more Juan Soto stuff. A lot of people appeared yesterday for his Juan Soto stuff, and we did not get too much of his Juan Soto stuff. Right now, he's in another room preparing for a game show we're going to debut today, and I want to ask you guys, the premise will be fairly obvious, but I want to ask you guys which is the better sound to start this with. Should we call it this? Should we call
Is it human?
Is it human, or should we call it this right here?
Is he human?
What should be the name of the game? Should it be Is It Human or Is He Human?
I got to say, I think we got to play the game first, and after the game is over, we realize
Great
whether
point.
it's an it or a he.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to play the opening imaging if we don't know which one
At
we're
the
going
end,
with?
he's saying once we're done with it, we'll determine it, which is how Meadowlark does things.
I think there's another obvious alternative, which...
Well, we don't have us all yelling
Okay,
that
if
one.
you want to include females, women as well, it should be Are They Human?
Right.
Okay,
You
but
know.
we're playing it with just David Samson. It's
Oh.
just him. And so now, unless you've made him transgender, Are They Human doesn't really work.
Okay,
It's
how
not-
about Is He Human?
Right.
I don't want to play the pronoun game with you. I'm just doing he or it. Those are your choices. Not
Okay.
surprising to me that the face rubber would go off the board. That's what he does.
I go it.
I think Is It Human is better, but we're going to get to that game show in a second. Is David Samson available right now, Chris, to just get bonus Soto stuff? I want to get all the things that we got wrong yesterday on Soto. I think at one point I accidentally made him a right-handed hitter. So David Samson was being bothered that he wasn't allowed to speak during our segment because he had more and better information than we did. Is he available right now?
He's
Chris
about
Cody?
to be. I'm being told very shortly. So keep filling.
Okay, thank you. That would have been better to have prepared at the start of the show because, we start pretty much at 9 o'clock every
David
day.
does a show right up until
Right,
8:50.
right, and it ends at 8:50. Yes, 10 minutes before we start, so he should be ready.
I want to go back.
It should be ready.
Well said.
It's an it. It's got to be, is it human, right? We've spent years saying he's a robot, he's all wires and all that. He's not a he. He's an it. Is it human? That's my vote.
Okay, so we will get to that game in a second, but I don't see that David, I see him in the preview, but I don't see that he's got his headset on. I don't know if he can hear me or not. So, David, just tell me right now, getting started, tell me what it is that we got wrong yesterday on Juan Soto. What new information has become available in the last 24 hours that makes this even more interesting than it was yesterday, that he's going to the Mets?
Oh, there are some tremendous excuses going on now between teams. Let's start with the Yankees. Word has leaked out that it wasn't about the $760 million. That's not the reason why Soto left the Yankees. It's because he was unhappy with the family room because his people got stopped by security. And on top of that, he wanted a luxury suite, and the Yankees wouldn't give him one without him paying for it.
Whoa.
Can you imagine that? That Juan Soto couldn't buy a luxury suite with $760 million. Guess what? It's happened to me before. Here's what you do. You raise your offer, and you make the player buy the suite so you can tell Aaron Judge and Derek Jeter that we stuck to our principles, that we didn't give a suite to Juan Soto. He bought one. I don't know why the Yankees didn't do that. As for the family room, what a crock of crap. There's security. If you don't have a credential, you don't get through. You're telling me that Juan Soto was so upset by a family room issue that he chose to leave the Yankees? It's a bunch of excuse making in order to try to sully Soto. And I don't think we should be sullying him. We should be celebrating that right-handed hitter.
What else did we get wrong yesterday? What in our analysis was incorrect to you while we didn't let you talk?
Not human.
I'm definitely not. I'm a he. So that's the game. And I was ready the whole time, Dan. Just the fact that you couldn't see or hear, I was ready to play. Whatever it is that you want to do, that Chris Cody brought to me in the middle of a live show and wondered why I hadn't responded. And then you texted me saying, I think your show's over. You ought to be responding now. I've been here waiting.
Okay, answer my question, please. You don't even remember it, do you?
I know what your question was. What else did we miss in our great analysis of yesterday's show?
What did we get
where
wrong?
It was all spent on college football. Here's where you got wrong, is why aren't we spending the time celebrating what the Mets are doing and thinking, are they going to spend the money on Pete Alonso? And you started to let me talk, and then you went past it. And David Stearns met the media yesterday night and confirmed it, that they may go after Pete Alonso because he's gotten some big hits for the Mets. Do you know what that's code for? We're not getting Pete Alonso. Because if you were, you would not present it as, that's a player we'd be interested in because he has had some good hits for us. You would say, we're going to get Pete Alonso because we want him to protect the great Juan Soto. But I would look for the Mets to bring in a pitcher.
What other reporting over the last 24 hours has gotten your attention? How much of your show today, Nothing Personal, did you devote to the Soto aftermath?
About the first 26 minutes, Dan, there were a lot of teams during the winter meetings who were talking. So what we did is we went around to our top markets. Nothing Personal. There's a breakdown of who's listening to the show. And we made sure we hit on those cities. So we talked about the Cubs and White Sox because we're pretty big in Chicago. We talked about the Cardinals. One of our top 10 cities is St. Louis. We talked about New York, both Yankees and Mets. And, of course, you got to work in some Dodgers and some Bill Belichick to end the show because everybody likes talking anything Patriots related.
I really wasn't looking for a rundown of your show. I was looking
He
for
really overthinks this thing.
I was looking for what Soto information you have that is new because people are still talking about Soto. I don't want you to review or preview the show you did on Nothing Personal already that we were very busy interrupting, evidently.
No one cares about your top market.
Yeah, I mean, no one cares about that. In fact, you know what? Just turn his microphone off. I'm going to keep it in here.
You wanted to go to him.
I did want to go to him. I wanted a specific thing from him, not what his top markets were on Nothing Personal.
We're very big in Chicago.
I don't care where he's very big. I was asking him a question about Soto, not his strategic laser-like focus on getting more listeners in Chicago. I don't care about his podcast and content strategy. I just cared about talking about Juan Soto. Lock him back up in that room. We'll come back to him in a second.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike. And guess what? It's Miller time. The holiday season brings around lots of joy and also lots of family gatherings at your home. You're inviting people in there and you want to make sure they're happy. Why don't you make their time at your place a Miller time? Pass around that beautiful white can of triple hops brewed Miller Lite and watch the smiles adorn those faces. Make Miller Lite the official drink, the official beverage of your holiday get-together. You know why? Because it is a perfect beer for the holiday season. You'll take a sip, you'll look around, and you'll think immediately, yeah, I made the right call. It's got taste that you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just great beer for people who like beer. Making memories at year-end gatherings? Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Don Le Batard.
Quiet man.
Yes.
You know, I'm a married man. I don't cheat on my wife, despite that gratuitous line back in my day.
Stugotz.
I wish you were here, my wife. I really miss her. No, I don't. That's the thing about being married. You know, you're not allowed to say, I don't miss my wife. I've been gone 2 days. I haven't been gone long enough to miss my wife. I'm sorry. I call her. I'm on the phone with her for 30 seconds. You know, what am I? Hello. All right, we'll see ya. All right. And then, you know, I'm going to see her in 2 days. How's Jumpin' Charlie? Good.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
The thing I wanted to talk with Amin about here, Stugotz, because there are some stats coming out. I don't know how interested he's been in the evolution of the Miami Heat that have Bam Adebayo struggling with finding his role, but Tyler Herro having no such issues. He is playing all-star basketball. The numbers he's putting up, okay? When you look at 24, 5, and 5 and 9 threes a game, it's Luka, it's Tatum, it's LaMelo, and Tyler's the only one shooting over 40% from three on all of those. Like, he's having an all-star season, and I want to revisit what it is that I was talking about a long time ago as I watched Portland boot off its own court, losing at home by 40 to Utah. They could have used Tyler Herro, evidently, and everyone's mocking me about what Tyler Herro is because I'm saying I don't think there's a lot of difference between Herro and Maxey. And these numbers... are they not going to put Herro in the All-Star game if he stays healthy above Maxey? Like, is he not going to be viewed as a player whose numbers are better than Maxey? When Maxey's asked to carry the team without Joel and without Paul George, you see a higher usage rate and a less efficient player. Tyler Herro hasn't been healthy, and he is the third player on this team, but there's clearly an evolution offensively, both in the game and the way the Heat are doing things, that it seems to me, Amin, is pushing Bam off to the side when they need Bam to also be an all-star. They can't have Bam doing the small offensive games, but they need all of the stuff Bam does defensively, so there's a change in the way the Heat are doing business, because the way they were doing it with these players against the Celtics was not going to work, so they're going through Herro more than they're going through Bam now.
The way they were doing against the Celtics wasn't working.
When Herro was more obviously the third option, and we were going 1, 2, 3 with Herro as the third option, and now that's changed a little in just the way they're doing business. All of it is meant to evolve with what it is that they have. Otherwise, they've got to change it. They've got to change the pieces if they don't get more out of the pieces they have.
Yes, that last sentence, absolutely. To say it wasn't working against the Celtics, I kind of disagree. They beat the Celtics.
I'm just saying what happened in the bubble at the rim, the difference between these teams was at the rim, Tatum against Bam. That's no longer the difference between these teams. There's a gulf between these teams now.
But to say that it didn't work, I think, is an incorrect statement. That's all I'm pointing out. I don't think it didn't work. I think it worked. And matter of fact, they met the Celtics, 3 times in the conference finals and beat them twice. Some would say what the Celtics was doing wasn't working against Miami, but that's neither here nor there. The point is what you're saying is that the dynamics have changed, and I think part of that is, first of all, the ceiling of the team is much higher when Bam is your best player. The problem is how long are they going to have to wait for Bam to play like he's their best player? And what I mean by that is there's an assertiveness you have to be in order to be the best player. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there was a discussion, who's the best power forward in the game? And these were the names people said and did not bat an eye. Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Chris Webber, Dirk Nowitzki, Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace was in that list. Everyone, all those guys knew it. Everyone around the league knew it. Rasheed Wallace is one of the 5 best power forwards in the game right now.
He was the basketball player's basketball player.
Absolutely.
People loved his game.
But almost to a fault. When I say Rasheed Wallace to the casual person, it's like, oh, it's because he was always getting technical fouls and stuff. That's not what Rasheed Wallace is undoing, or not even undoing. It's just what limited him. What limited him was he was the basketball player's basketball player. He wanted to be one of the guys. He had the talent, the skill, the IQ to be an absolute monster. And he's like, wait. The basketball is a 5-man game, and I just want to set screens, and I just want to be one of the guys and average about 16 points a game. And that's what he did. And when he got to Detroit, it was exactly what they needed. But Rasheed Wallace, talent-wise, skill-wise, IQ-wise, was every bit the equal of Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett. They never got at any point that monster, to that selfishness of like, I don't give a damn, give me the ball, get out of my way. 25 years later, I look at Bam Adebayo and I think the same thing. I'm like, man, when he turns into a jackhole, because we can't say the other word, when he turns into a real jackhole.
I feel like we can say the other word.
No, we can't. We're on Peacock. You don't
I feel
want,
like we can.
You don't want Peacock next to the jackhole.
Let's just not.
All right. So if Bam were to unlock that and turn into a real selfish MF, like, give me the damn ball, get out of my way. I'm not settling for jump shots. I'm not just pitching it back out. I am the offense. That's when the Heat, and that's the progression we've been waiting for the last 3 years, where Jimmy said, well, this is Bam's team. That was the progression we're waiting for. Up in Cleveland, they've got a guy, Evan Mobley, where they're doing the same thing. Like, he's a really talented, smart player, tough, great defensive player, but he hasn't taken that leap, and they need that leap in order to get to where they really want to be.
You saw with Cleveland the other night when they came to Miami. They had lost only 3 times this year. Mobley plays 12 minutes. They lose against Miami immediately, when Miami hasn't beaten a team of pedigree all season before this, unless you consider the Lakers and whatever they brought down here to be something of pedigree. But your contention on where it is that Herro is in his evolution, and if I put him next to Maxey and say to you, these two players are pretty similar, are they not? You disagree with that?
I mean, if you ask me, gun to my head, which is one of my favorite games. You guys, you like gun to my head, right?
Yeah, I taught it to you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Gun to my head, Maxey or Herro, I'm taking Maxey, right? Because I've seen Maxey approximate the aggression and the scoring within success. What I've seen Herro is, hey, when I'm asking you to be part of a good team, you're down here. Now that we've kind of unleashed you and now is everything about you, yes, your numbers are great. Team success, we're a middling team. So I don't know that. I think there's a trade-off for every player. How much of me can I be while still helping the team win? And if you're really good, a lot of times it's like, as good as I am, that's how good as the team is, and we keep going up. Like LeBron, Steph Curry, those guys, it's limitless. But for a lot of lesser players, there is a line where, okay, I could be even better. My numbers could be even stronger, but that's not going to help the team. We talked about this with Dwayne Wade during his last year when I was saying, look, I get you guys love him and everything, but that season turned into, how can we make Dwayne Wade still look dominant? Like, and you can, but wins won't come along with it anymore.
Let's not make the Heat out to be a team that's only beaten the Cavaliers as their only signature win. They have beaten Minnesota. They have beaten the Dallas Mavericks. They've beaten some good teams.
All right, they're 12-10. They've lost some bad games this season. They've lost at home. They've lost to Milwaukee without Giannis.
Right.
But yes, thank you. You are right. Minnesota's just okay. Minnesota's a bit lost this year, but okay, fair enough.
The Heat are also out of the NBA Emirates Cup, so.
Ooh.
Oh,
Billy, you must be excited today because we have a guest from The Masked Singer joining us today.
But we haven't said who the guest is. We just said
we didn't spoil it. We just teased what's coming up later in the show. There was nothing spoiled other than a guest from The Masked Singer is going to join us.
It could be anybody. It could be Ken Jeong.
It could be, but when the guest comes on, if people aren't caught up and you say this person was on The Masked Singer.
We won't tell them that. I mean, we have multiple guests a day. It could be any guest. It could be Diana Rossini, who's not coming on today.
So it's not her.
I mean, I think there's a larger question in terms of the Heat. ESPN, which loves rankings, just ranked every team's core, every team's big three. And the Heat's, partly because of Butler's age, was ranked what I thought was stunningly low, like 19th. My question is, Jimmy, Bam, Tyler Herro, are you going to be anything but pretty good with that? Like, can you challenge for a championship? Don't they have to, like, blow this up? Trade Jimmy, do something to like really restart this thing.
Is there anything adding on to that, Amin? Is there anything that they're doing offensively that you see in what it is the evolution of this is that makes it so that while Tyler Herro is this good, Bam's been the worst him we've seen. Like, Bam has not been statistically the player that he's been the last 3 years. I'm confused sometimes when I'm watching, and he's doing next to nothing out there offensively, even though he's always great defensively. Are you seeing something in the structure that makes it so that they are making Tyler Herro, they're not making it so that Tyler Herro and Bam can both be all-stars at the same time?
He's initiating offense. Here, the ball is going through Herro, and Bam is kind of off to the side. And as a result, obviously, he's not getting the touches he was getting. He's not getting the opportunities he was getting before. But again, I think that also comes down to you had your chance, right? Like, we've been waiting for you to come and seize these reins and say, it's my team, F this. I'm going to be Giannis's peer.
And Tyler's not waiting. He's not.
Well,
He's taking it.
This is an oversimplification, but it's also a math problem. Bam, you're not going to shoot threes? It's going to be mid-rangers? Okay, Tyler Herro, 9 threes a game. We're going to change the way that we're doing this offensively.
But Dan, he can take mid-ranges. If he were an excellent mid-range shooter, we wouldn't mind. The problem is he's an okay mid-range shooter, meaning he should take a couple a game, but everything for Bam should be around the basket. It should be dominant around the basket. And he's not. He's kind of reticent around there. And so what ends up happening is he settles for these mid-range jumpers, which he's good at, but not excellent at. And so that's an inefficient shot and not enough to carry an offense. Tell you what, how many people have the Miami Heat with a top 10 offense right now? They've got a top 10 offense in the league, right? But at the same time, we all look at it and we say, I don't think this is something that can be sustainable in terms of a deep playoff run.
Stugotz here. Right now, my friends over at Simply Safe are extending their massive Black Friday deal for our Le Batard Show listeners. Simply Safe is the home security I trust to keep my home and family safe. I've been telling you that for years. This is your last chance to protect your home at Simply Safe's lowest prices of the year. Simply Safe is a new way to protect your home that stops intruders before they break into your home. Old school systems only take action once someone is already inside your home. That's too late. Simply Safe's Active Guard outdoor protection changes the game by preventing crime before it even happens. Simply Safe is extending its massive Black Friday deal for our listeners. This week only, you can take 50% off any new system with a select professional monitoring plan. This is your last chance to claim their best offer of the year. Head to simplysafe.com/DLB to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this season. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. There's sure to be rim-rattling slams and no-look passes that bring the crowd to their feet. Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. New DraftKings customers bet just $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN, that's code DAN, D-A-N, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
Don Le Batard.
The elephant went into a 7-Eleven and bought a pack of cigarettes. But my question to Ron is this.
Stugotz.
That joke didn't really land the way you wanted it to, did it? We all just stared at you.
Didn't land at all. This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I want to do a stat of the day here before we go back to David Samson that I found fairly shocking.
Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day.
This is from Matt Warren on Twitter. O.J. Simpson is a Pro Football Hall of Fame running back. He has 61 rushing touchdowns. Terrell Davis has 60. He's a Hall of Famer. Josh Allen is 28 years old. He's got 62 rushing touchdowns and 190 passing touchdowns and a couple of receiving touchdowns as well. That is crazy.
Yes.
I couldn't believe that. And here's a partial list of people that Josh Allen has more rushing touchdowns than. McCaffrey? Come on. Seriously? More than McCaffrey? Jamal Lewis? Herschel Walker? Warwick Dunn? Like these are great running backs, and Josh Allen casually, like if you're winning with in a salary cap sport in the margins with the money, and you've got a guy who's also your running back when he's your quarterback, and you're paying one position to get two positions worth of productivity, you change the architecture of your team when you can do that. Lamar Jackson, when you can build around Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, you can save all sorts of money on running back. I don't know. Chris Cody said yesterday of the Bills, they don't stop anyone running the ball, so that Detroit game is going to be super interesting because Detroit's a running team. I know people think of them as Jared Goff and spread the offense around in 300-yard passing games, but they're a rushing team. They don't throw the ball in the top half of the league. They're in the bottom half of the league throwing the football.
To your point with the Bills and Josh Allen rushing, James Cook, who is their primary back, is making just over $1 million this year. Like, you're right. Like that, it definitely changes how you put together your roster from that standpoint when you have a guy who is both your quarterback and your primary ball handler in terms of being a running back. Like, that's insane. But there's one thing that you left off Josh Allen's resume, and it's a ring. And I fear that because he's playing at the same time as Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and he's being coached by that lousy coach in Buffalo, I believe that Josh Allen might be one of those guys who never gets a ring because Patrick Mahomes is playing at the same time.
But what I did say is 28 years old. He's got 10 more years to pile up those numbers. I make fun of Bill Polian for not knowing that Lamar Jackson was a quarterback. I will remind you that I said Josh Allen will be terrible forever at quarterback. That's some bad analysis right there. Once I saw him in a playoff game throw into double coverage deep onto a fullback, I'm like, that can't win in the NFL. You can't, in a playoff game, throw 40 yards downfield to a double-covered fullback.
In Stugotz's defense to your 28 years old for Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes 29 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you do think that Patrick Mahomes is going to hog all the championships and prevent Josh, then he could do so. They're on the same timeline. I don't think that's going to happen, but they're on the same timeline.
It seems in terms of body, though, just watching the games and the way that the Chiefs have to win, you tell me that Mahomes isn't aging faster than Josh Allen is.
Up
just physically.
What are you saying?
Just physically.
I don't agree with that.
He's moving slower. He's moving slower through your secondary than he used to. Josh Allen seems to be gathering steam.
Speaking of the Chiefs, did you guys see Dylan Raiola?
Oh my God.
At the Chiefs game?
Yeah, it's an embarrassment.
An embarrassment? Yeah. I thought you would love this. So Dylan Raiola, the college quarterback who looks suspiciously like
Mahomes,
like Mahomes.
By choice,
and
by the way.
acts like him.
Yes.
He is whatever that movie was in the '90s, Single White Female.
Yeah.
He is married a black quarterback. Yes.
Wow. So I loved it when Nebraska was 3-0, 4-0, but you can't continue with the act when you're that bad.
Stugotz, he doesn't know if this is the peak of his life right now. You've got to milk. I thought you would understand this more than anyone. You got to milk this thing for everything it's worth. Absolutely go to Chiefs games and sign autographs, kid. Knock yourself out.
Well, for those of you who don't know who he is, he's Nebraska's quarterback. He also cosplays as Patrick Mahomes on his free time. He dresses like him. He wears the same sunglasses, gets the same haircut. Earlier in the season when Nebraska was good, he was doing the same celebration, the same warm-up routine. He was doing everything to be Patrick Mahomes. And then Nebraska kind of stunk. And then he disappeared for a while until Sunday, for whatever reason, where Dylan Raiola, who plays for Nebraska and seemingly has no connection to the Kansas City Chiefs whatsoever, was at the Chiefs game on the field signing autographs for fans.
Also wears the same number, by the way.
Same number, too, yeah.
Well, and is physically trying to look like him.
Right.
Like
it
is blatant copycatting to get sort of the the fame that one gets spilling over the side of whatever it is that Patrick Mahomes has in fame. He's trying to mimic him.
It's the old meme. We've got Patrick Mahomes at home. Patrick Mahomes at home is Dylan Raiola.
It's honestly like a worse job of Chiefs security than it is of Yankees security, keeping Juan Soto's family away from like the free food or whatever. Like the fact that they let Dylan Raiola anywhere near Patrick Mahomes is kind of insane.
So he just went to the Chiefs game to sign autographs as the guy who looks like the Chiefs quarterback?
Okay, but here's the thing.
Signing him as Patrick.
Here's the thing, right? Is that there are people probably that thought that might have been Patrick Mahomes and they were getting his autograph.
Right.
He's signing Chiefs fan gear. Like, he's signing the Chiefs logo. He's signing Chiefs t-shirts. Like, people think that that's him.
I thought we stopped with autographs in general. I thought the autograph had been replaced by the selfie. But let's put up real quick an accusation that's getting all over the country right now. You got people accusing Stugotz of not signing his own book after promising people he was going to sell them a copy of his own book. And the signature looks like a stamp of some sort.
I signed him, man.
There are accusations.
Fine point Sharpie.
It's a damn fine marker. That's not fine point.
That's not a fine point.
No, it is a fine point. Yeah. I bought 10 packs of them. Fine point Sharpie right there.
That's a thick fine point right there.
Okay, but is that a real signature? Because it looked like a stamp, and I'm asking you
It's a
because
real
some people
signature.
are wondering whether it's a real signature or not.
It is a real signature. I got these inserts in the mail. There were thousands of them, and so I appreciate everyone buying the book. It was a pre-order deal. I signed every single one of them and sent them back to Random House.
Raise your hand if you're surprised that the S isn't backwards in Stugotz.
Or a money sign. It should just be, the S should be a money sign. He needs to change his signature.
That should be the S in Soto's last name. I mean, seriously, if he doesn't do that, you got to sink into being a billionaire, don't you?
Yep.
I mean,
that's a good idea.
Not the bouncer. Oh, he's a quarter away from being. He's 3/4 of the way. Not to jump around too much. But did you guys see that Nick Turturro has another video about Juan Soto?
No way.
Well, let's see the original Nick Turturro video to cleanse the palate here and just end with Samson and Soto talk. This was just great. I've got to think that John Turturro is terribly embarrassed by all of this.
Hey, Juan Soto, I got 2 words for you. F you. That's right. F you and the horse you rode in on. And the cavalry behind you. That's right, motherfucker. Yeah, I'm taking it personal. We gave you our love. We gave you our heart and soul. It wasn't enough. You turned your cap around after the World Series. I saw that move. 700 million, 730. Yeah, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Guaranteed years, it wasn't enough. You don't even choose the Dodgers. You don't even choose the Dodgers. You go off Broadway to the Mets. You don't want to be on Broadway, and you don't want to be Judge's guy. You don't want to be Judge's partner. Oh, that's right, Judge. Now it's your team. That's it. Let's stick it up his ass. That's right. Let's go out. Let's get Burns, Fried, Bregman. Let's Teoscar. I don't give a Now we're not around. Take those grungy, whatever those those stupid Mets.
A rational human being who keeps sports in perspective.
I love the chucking of the bat at the end
It
of
sounds so good. Can you guys get me video? Can you just freeze frame the most rabidly crazed that he looks at any time? Just freeze frame it for me because it is rabid rage. He's got a new video out. Let's see what else Nick Turturro is doing on video that I'm sure embarrasses his brother John Turturro.
All right, I had some time to think about this, kind of let it settle in. You know, I understand it's a business. I do. I understand. At the end of the day, it's like show business. But you know what? You wanted to be a Yankee. You wanted to be part of this pinstripe tradition. You got to wear it. You got to go to the World Series. Yes, you helped, even though you can't catch a fucking fly ball whatever. But we took you in. And what? You were a little butthurt over some personal disgruntled shit? It happens. You didn't want to be second fiddle. You didn't want to play next to Judge because it's Judge. This is the Yankees. Judge came up a Yankee. He's the captain. That's what you signed up for. Reggie came here. Thurman was the captain. But Reggie helps get us over the top. You were part of something here. Yeah. And you shun us. You shun us. It's like Michael Corleone. All right, Michael Corleone, you went out with him and you shunned him for Fredo. You left for Fredo. You're a joke, my friend. And any other Yankee fan that's congratulating him on his contract, you're soft, brother. You're soft. You come here and then you turn and you go to the dumps of Queens. Even though I'm from Queens, they're not the Bronx, they're not the Yankees, they never will be the Yankees. I don't give a about Stevie Cohen's money. I don't care if he's got more money than God. He ain't ever gonna be the Yankees.
I don't like Nick and Son. I mean, I don't like when he has time to think about stuff.
Dan, you have John Turturro being ashamed. I've got John Turturro being the guy holding the camera.
Wow. Really?
Directing.
Huh.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike. And guess what? It's Miller time. The holiday season brings around lots of joy and also lots of family gatherings at your home. You're inviting people in there. You want to make sure they're happy. Why don't you make their time at your place a Miller time? Pass around that beautiful white can of triple hops brewed Miller Lite and watch the smiles adorn those faces. Make Miller Lite the official drink, the official beverage of your holiday get-together. You know why? Because it is a perfect beer for the holiday season. You'll take a sip, you'll look around, and you'll think immediately, yeah, I made the right call. It's got taste that you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just great beer for people who like beer. Making memories at year-end gatherings? Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.